In several days, the RNC will begin. Many are being led into a trap. The winner of this election is not being decided by the voters. This is nothing new. This is something by now that you should know. I should not have to tell you this. The power and strength of the liberty movement relates around community. Those that do not have hatred in their hearts. Those that understand and seek the truth, higher truths, about not only the systems of control, but about the power that we as humans have. Many are being led into a trap. Ron Paul will not be the President of the United States in 2012. I have supported Ron Paul for many, many years. I am not attacking Ron Paul. I am reminding you a game is being played on your emotions. There are many coming to Tampa with a lot of anger in their heart, a lot of rage burning in their belly. And this will be released once certain events come into manifestation. They do not want you happy. They do not want you pleased with the outcome. They want you upset. They want you to riot. They will not even have a problem with some of you carrying weapons to the protest in order to ignite problems. So they have the pretext to crack down and potentially maim some of you. This is about creating chaos. And this is what they do. How can there be faith in a system that has created war after war after war, millions of dead bodies in the Middle East? How can we not question 9/11? How can we just pretend that this is something that we're not going to talk about, that we don't have to talk about, and everything will just fix itself, that a Savior will emerge from the ashes and lead us towards salvation? For those of us going to Tampa, this is an opportunity to connect with others that have aligned themselves with the light, that have aligned themselves with the truth. We are co-creators in this reality. So what reality are we going to create in Tampa, Florida? Will we scream on the sidelines and let out our rage? Or will we engage in the love vibration and make new connections with others that can see? This is not much different than the plot from the movie They Live. In Tampa, Florida, there will be many watchers. Not only the watchmen at the door, but the other watchers, the drones. Those that would seek to create acts of violence in the crowd, to blame particular groups. False flags of a multitude of sorts. I do not need to make a prediction about something happening at the RNC. It is absolutely guaranteed with the level of anger that people are going down to the RNC with, that riots of some form will result. No agent provocateurs even needed. The mentality in the so-called truth movement is to fight fire with fire, yet who has more fire? Yes, we outnumber them, but we are not an organized fighting force. And for the most part, we fight amongst ourselves. Always remember a quote that I have shared over the years. If you do not believe in freedom of speech, the freedom for people to have their own opinion on how things are going to manifest and whether some certain campaigns are even legitimate, if you don't believe in freedom of speech, expression of ideas, it could be argued you're not ready for freedom at all. To live in a free society requires more than just voting in certain politicians. It requires a change in the way that we look at the world. It requires being more loving and accepting of others. True diversity, and this is not code for a new world order, but true acceptance of people expressing themselves and their own ideas without judgment or assuming they're haters. This is negative energy. This is also what divides us. There's a lot of negative energy already in Florida. There are a lot of covert operations already taking place in Florida. There's many strange things that have happened in Florida. And so let us not be confused as to what waits for us. The beast, Sauron, the archonic agenda, will have its eyes upon the crowd. And that dark agenda will do everything in its power to create chaos, to create the pretext to invoke a state of emergency. Now, whatever ensues is not going to be the end of the world, nor is it guaranteed this is going to lead to a larger cycle of civil unrest. What happens in Florida could surely stay in Florida. The point is to go down there with the intention of creating greater harmony, to link up with and network with other people that are liberty-minded and oriented, other truthers, other individuals that want to end the wars, not the war, the wars. Not only the one internally, but the ones taking place overseas that have not even been dealt with, that aren't even being addressed. I predict Mitt Romney will be the President of the United States not because he is voted in by the people. This is not how elections are conducted in this country. You're already in a dictatorship. Election fraud, vote fraud, and I'm not talking about people writing in other people's names and vote fraud coming from the local level, but the machines that are counting the votes. This truth we've learned in 2000 when George W. Bush became the president, George Bush Sr. But I don't believe that was the beginning of the vote fraud. There are people that are upholding this illusion that the delegates and the people are deciding who becomes the president of the United States. I believe Mitt Romney has already been picked by the establishment to play the role as president, to ignite a third world war with Russia and China. And this is the agenda that the superpowers that have already created their new world order, this is their intention, to use this man for their agenda, while Obama helped bring up China and Russia, their militaries and their economies. There is only the illusion of separate nations and separate states. There is only the illusion that we still have a democracy or a republic. Both of them are farces. Both of them are fallacies. You have a concentration of minds coming together. We should not let this go to waste. There are conventions, there are speeches that humans give before other humans. This is not about watching people on stage. This is about connecting with those that know, off Facebook, and creating our own communities based on the intentions we put out to the universe. My intention I'm putting out into the universe is for those watching this video to think a little bit more about what this is all really about. So for those that are hoping that all their eggs in one basket will prove to be fruitful, you're walking into a trap. That is not to say that your efforts are completely in vain. There are so many people through the Ron Paul movement that have come together. This is powerful, loving energy. This is something that the haters, the people that don't like the Ron Paul movement, they don't understand. They don't understand our opposition to never-ending wars. They don't understand our understanding of karma. You just can't do this indefinitely and expect there to be no consequence. There will be a consequence. And so the people of the Ron Paul movement have come together because they have said enough is enough. We cannot continue to live this way. We cannot continue to run our nation this way. We cannot continue to just bomb nation after nation after nation after nation and expect nothing bad to come from it. We should be focusing our efforts towards what needs to be done. And speaking of violence, speaking of an armed revolt, makes you a target. And the powers that be are provoking you into a conflict because this is what they want. They want the next decade to be a decade of conflict and civil war within this country. So we weaken ourselves, so we shoot each other right before the real threat comes to this nation, from the east and the west. It is being planned, and this has been planned for a very long time. As we talk about elections and we talk about democracy and the republic, more foreign troops are being trained inside the United States that care nothing about you, and would care nothing about respecting the dignity of an unarmed woman. Through our intentions, through this love frequency, you can be the change that you would like to see in the world. We need a convergence of angels and teachers at the RNC to remember, our fellow humans, there's a reason why we are in this mess. And we must be willing to face the ultimate truth if we are to escape this mess. Do not be deceived by even your own mind and your own emotions and your own personal desires. This is about a larger plan. They plan to put Mitt Romney in the seat of the presidency to ignite World War III and create a deliberate chaos within this nation. The plan for a world currency has been in the works for decades and decades and decades. The audit of the Fed will simply result in such a shift from a dollar-based world currency system to a new, digitized world currency system. Years ago, they said it was the SDR. Now we read about the BRICS. Russia's already proposed that their currency be the world currency, as China has proposed the yuan. We don't exactly know what it's going to be, but we understand that it will not be the dollar forever. Now, Mr. Lord Rothschild has bet recently against the euro. And so this is not just about America or who's going to be the next president of the United States. The world does not really revolve around the United States, as we've been told to believe. The world is much larger than that. So for those coming to Tampa, I welcome you to contact me. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk to the riot cops. Let's plant some seeds. Let's talk to the socialists and communists. Let's plant some seeds as to how just simply blaming capitalism isn't the problem. And let's talk to those in the Ron Paul movement about how we can move the liberty movement forward in the post-November world. Defeat is not an option. Powerlessness is not an option. Saying negative affirmations that they're going to come for you because of what you posted on Facebook is not an option. In the case of Brandon, the former Marine, who was arrested recently and sentenced to over a month in a mental hospital. The truth of what this is obvious. They want to terrorize you. They want to frighten you and put out negative affirmations out to the world. Now they're coming for me. Now they're coming for Alex. Now they're coming for David. Now they're coming for Josh. Now they're coming for John. Now they're coming for Stephen. Now they're coming for Melissa. The more you put that out to the universe, the more potential you give that reality into manifestation. I speak to you all to not just simply give you truths about the things I've learned about this system of control, but that there's another side to looking at why we're going through this. And many have argued long before I was even brought out of the womb that chaos at times erupts in our world in order to teach us something about ourselves, in order to shake us and push us out of this chair and get us to learn to stand. First we have to learn to crawl, but eventually you must learn to stand. And from that point, your spirit must face its destiny, that it's time for us to fly to greater realities, to greater hopes, to explore the imagination in our minds, the boundaries of our minds, and push that intention as far as it can go. Because we are all co-creators in this world, and there is no power in being a human where your emotions are played off against you. Take what I said here today seriously. I thank you for watching.